Welcome to Stepping Stones to Business Success. I'm your host, Gigi Thompson-Jarvis, the Drainsville District Small Business Commissioner. On tonight's show, we'll learn how the Fairfax County Department of Economic Initiatives is helping small businesses recover from the pandemic. We'll also learn more about Fairfax County's roadmap to recovery. This roadmap, or economic framework, provides an in-depth look at the pre-pandemic economy, the economic impact of COVID-19, and gives recommendations to support a full and robust recovery. Joining me today is Rebecca Moudry, Director of the Department of Economic Initiatives. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us.
It is my pleasure, Gigi.
Can we begin our discussion by talking about your department's mission and how the department fits into the economic development infrastructure of Fairfax County?
Absolutely. So the Fairfax County Department of Economic Initiatives leverages or builds on our local assets that we have in the county to support businesses, grow jobs, foster economic mobility, as well as foster prosperous communities. So our team philosophy is navigating what's next. So every single day, our team is working to help Fairfax County reach our next level of competitiveness. And we do that in a couple of ways. One, we support catalytic development or real estate public-private partnerships. We support economic innovation as well as entrepreneurship in emerging sectors. And we also support our small and local businesses. And we do this, I have to say, through, of course, our many partners. So we fit into the economic development landscape through really a local economic development lens. But we work together with our partners, for example, chambers of commerce that are really on the ground, working directly with businesses and communities, other small business support organizations through Fairfax County, as well as the Economic Development Authority, which is working very hard to bring in new businesses as well as new talent. And of course, we work together with our county partners. So our many agencies that are working to create the framework where businesses can locate and thrive, as well as workers can live and enjoy the county.
Oh, thank you. Let's dig right into the specifics of your department's support for small businesses. What is the department's role in guiding entrepreneurs and small business people through the launching and growing their businesses?
Yeah. So first, I'd like to maybe take a step back and talk a little bit about the small businesses in Fairfax County. So I think it's important to know that in the county, 94.5% of all of our business establishments are small. That means our typical definition is 50 or fewer employees. So the vast majority of our businesses in Fairfax County are very small businesses. And those businesses employ just over 200,000 workers. And in addition to this, there's another 115,000 non-employer establishments. So together, we know that these many small businesses are supporting hundreds of thousands of families in the county. They are providing the services and amenities that create vibrant communities. And some of these businesses will start here and grow here, and some of them, with the right supports, will grow into large businesses. So given this, with the creation of the Department of Economic Initiatives in 2019, we were really excited to establish as one of our core pillars a division of small and local business development. So this division brought with it the work that had been ongoing through the Business Experience Partnership, or BizX. And BizX provides direct assistance as well as many resources to small businesses as they look to start as well as grow in Fairfax County. That includes many resources that are available on the Starting a Business website, on the fairfaxcounty.gov site. There, entrepreneurs and small businesses will find a guide to starting a business. They will find particular state or local requirements that they need to consider. And we're adding more and more resources, actually almost every day. So certainly businesses should check back for industry-specific or process-specific assistance for them.
Wow. Well, we're all aware that small businesses have been hit especially hard by the pandemic. So since small business is the focus of your department, I'm wondering, what has the response been?
Well, in some way, it was somewhat fortuitous timing that our department had really just been stood up kind of right before the pandemic. So we were able to immediately move into action. And actually, just a few days after the state of emergency was declared in Virginia, we had set up a webpage to provide specific business resources and information to support businesses as we moved into that very tumultuous time. Just a month after that, we launched a microloan program to provide capital to small businesses. And just a few months after that, we launched the RISE grant program, which provided small businesses as well as nonprofit direct assistance. And through the RISE program, we're very proud that in 2020, we awarded almost $53 million in grants to small businesses and nonprofits in Fairfax County and supported about 4,800 businesses through that. Something else we're very proud of through the RISE program is that 73% of the grantees were women, minority, and/or veteran-owned businesses. So that was in 2020. And last year, in 2021, we really took a focus on the hardest hit sectors. And through our Pivot program, another grant program, we were able to directly support those sectors that really needed the most assistance to pivot and continue through the recovery phase. So we supported businesses in 4 primary sectors, which included retail and personal services, hospitality and lodging, restaurants, as well as arts. And that program provided just over 1,000 small businesses with direct grants totaling about $16 million. So we're very proud of these programs, and there's full details on the outcomes and dashboards are available on our website.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
In March 2021, the Economic Recovery Framework was presented. Can you help me understand how it was created and what was its goal?
Sure. You're correct. It was presented in March of 2021, but we actually started working on and thinking about the recovery for our economy and particularly our small businesses and hardest hit sectors back in 2020. So at that point, we partnered with the Economic Development Authority, the EDA, and together we began engaging with our local stakeholders and our local business community to really understand what the current needs were, as well as what the oncoming or future anticipated needs or challenges may be in order to create a really effective recovery framework. So we knew that we needed a roadmap to guide us through what has proven to be a very long pandemic. Some of the goals, one of the most important goals was to move beyond what we called recovery as usual and think about a more resilient and just recovery. And other goals included retaining Fairfax County businesses and jobs, as well as mitigating the economic impacts of the pandemic. So as I mentioned, we partnered with the EDA, and through the framework, we identified the key needs in the county, as well as the key opportunities to reach that more just and resilient recovery. So we, as I mentioned, were very focused on engaging the local community. So we led several virtual workshops and roundtables to gather input. And the recovery framework also included extensive analysis that provided details into the impacts of the pandemic and recommendations to move forward.
What were some of the major findings of that study? Did you find, for example, that certain businesses did better or worse based upon their business sector or type of business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we've seen that in various ways through the pandemic, and certainly the analysis conducted did identify disproportionate impacts on certain industries. So one of the things that we discovered that Fairfax County lost an approximate 48,000 jobs through December of 2020. And employment losses were heavily concentrated in food service, hospitality, and retail sectors. And those industries employ a disproportionate amount of low-income people of color and people with relatively low levels of formal education and training. So this is one reason why we structured our programs, our response programs, in the way that we did. For example, the RISE program included a particular goal to ensure that we were reaching underrepresented businesses, including minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses. We are very happy that we by far exceeded our goals, and also the Pivot program was structured, again, to focus on those industries that saw disproportionate impacts.
Wow. And how has this roadmap been implemented?
Well, the framework, the roadmap, included dozens of recommendations across 5 major categories. And these go way beyond what you may consider a typical an economic study. So they included the full consideration of responding to pandemic impacts in communities, for workers, as well as for businesses. So given that this was such a robust and cross-cutting plan, we have also approached implementation in a very robust and cross-cutting way. And we stood up an economic recovery forums, which includes about 15 county agencies. So every 2 months, we meet with this broad group and we discuss implementation and prioritization. And so through that, we've seen a lot of success through programs that have been implemented and the direction forward. Something else that I'll mention about the economic recovery framework is that we very deliberately tied the implementation and the recommendations with the countywide strategic plan, as well as the chairman's task force for equity and opportunity. So we're identifying areas where these 3 plans or strategies really have a cross-cutting impact. And so we're excited that as we move into, I'd say, post-pandemic and recovery, then activities under the economic recovery framework will dovetail into and under the countywide strategic plan implementation.
Thank you. As this pandemic has extended on and on, what have we learned about its ongoing effect on small businesses?
Well, it certainly has been a tumultuous time for all businesses, but especially small businesses. There have been major adjustments. There have been economic shifts and consumer shifts that small businesses have had to contend with. And many have, and many are. Many have fared okay, many have recovered, but many businesses, small businesses in our community, are continuing to strive towards recovery. We actually conducted a survey relatively recently of our small businesses in Fairfax County, and we found that just 44% were operating at pre-COVID levels. So that means the majority of our local small businesses still are operating at levels not at pre-COVID levels. And we also know that from regional data, approximately 70% or nearly all of small businesses in our region continue to report negative impacts from the pandemic. And also, most of them have said that they anticipate their recovery will be at least 6 months or maybe longer. So clearly, small businesses continue to grapple with the shifting economy with ongoing waves of uncertainty, and that's why we have an ongoing opportunity to continue to support them.
Has your department considered any initiatives to help these businesses through recovery and post-recovery?
Absolutely. So along with the programs that I've already mentioned, we're actually building out a next wave of programs that's called Thrive. So we had Rise and Pivot, and now we're moving into Thrive. And we hope that this is a program that will really assist businesses as they continue to transition and stabilize and become more resilient. So we actually just proposed this program to our Fairfax County Board of Supervisors last week for them to consider and provide feedback on. So we are building it out. We still have a ways to go, but what we anticipate is Thrive will be a grant program that will provide businesses with technical assistance in targeted areas to help them reach their individual business goals and reach their capacity to move forward into the future. I want to mention that we are building out this program. We hope to launch it this summer, and information about the program and details and when it's coming out will all be available on the Economic Initiatives website.
So that's how the average Fairfax County resident would find out about some of these fabulous grant programs and opportunities that your department has developed?
Absolutely.
So go to that website. Tell me that once more.
So if you go to Fairfax County, the Department of Economic Initiatives website, we post all of our updates there. And you will also find there a newsletter, the opportunity to subscribe to our newsletter. So you will receive periodic updates about programs that may be available, not just at the local level, but we also share information, any updates about, for example, federal grant programs or opportunities that may be coming out, and certainly our own programs and other tidbits as well. But along with that, I would really encourage any small business to engage in the vast small business support ecosystem that is in Fairfax County and the region. There are many business support organizations in the county that are there to help businesses through the kind of spectrum of business startup and growth. For example, I would also mention that local chambers can be a great place for businesses to connect, to receive information, to receive mentoring opportunities, and also many of the small business development centers that are in Fairfax County and the region. I would also suggest that folks sign up for their local district supervisors newsletter. That's another place where we put our information out. And we also, of course, share all of our information with local media outlets, as well as many other partners in the county.
Thank you. You know, Rebecca, in the last 2 years, I've noticed that a lot of small businesses have adapted better than other small businesses to operating in the pandemic environment. Can you share any steps that those businesses took to survive?
Yeah, well, it certainly has been different for every location, every sector, and every business. But I think in some ways, in many ways, perhaps the pandemic kind of forced trends that were already happening to accelerate. And businesses really had to adapt quickly in order to transition with those trends. And again, if I could just kind of look back at the survey that we just conducted, because I thought it was very telling, some of the responses that we received. So we asked businesses, what business model or operational change have they recently made, or have they made over the course of the pandemic? And the biggest change that we saw that businesses reported were new ways to stay connected with consumers and clients. They also reported that finding new ways to deliver products or services was particularly important, as well as entering new markets. So since good old foot traffic was no longer really on the table to serve your customers fully, or to maybe bring in new customers, businesses really had to get creative and respond quickly. So that meant standing up online sales platforms, identifying new ways to deliver products or services, as well as new ways to engage customers. And that area seems to have been particularly important, to remind your existing customers that you're there, you're open, and that you want to continue to serve them, as well as marketing platforms to bring in new customers.
Well, what's next? Is your department planning any new programs or initiatives for the upcoming year?
Right. Well, along with the Thrive program, which we're very excited about, we're also planning to launch another program that small businesses may be interested in. This one's a little bit different. It's called the Fairfax Founders Fund, and it is aimed at innovative and promising technology product companies. And the idea behind the Fairfax Founders Fund is to provide those firms with early stage capital. And the focus is particularly on underrepresented founders. And this, usually includes women founders and founders of color that traditionally have less access to capital and therefore less opportunity to grow their business, scale their business, and access even more capital later on. So we're very excited about this program. Again, we are building this out. We are poised to launch it later this year upon board approval. But some of the goals include not only directly supporting those local founders, but also further develop our technology clusters in Fairfax County, which is very, very strong, and we have a lot of competitive areas in there, but we know that we can do more to support them, as well as I mentioned, really targeting underrepresented founders.
Well, I have a tough question now. Do you think that the Fairfax County economic environment is going to return to its pre-pandemic levels?
Well, I'll relay something that I learned recently from economists at GMU, George Mason University, that our regional economy is apparently about a year of normal growth behind where it was before COVID-19. So our economy is not necessarily on track to where it could have been, but our economy is growing, and actually Fairfax County was in a strong economic position before the pandemic. We had a very stable economy, and our economy is continuing to grow. In fact, if you're looking at a measure like the unemployment rate, we are really back at pre-pandemic levels, which I know is sometimes a little bit surprising, but one of the things that we need to remember with that is that low unemployment rate can sometimes even be a constraint to growth. So even though we are growing, our growth may not be as rapid as it could be. And one of the reasons is because we have a labor shortage. And it's not just in Fairfax County, it's not just in the region. This is something that's happening nationwide. But I would say the good news overall is that Northern Virginia in particular, we continue to add new jobs. Our economy is actually doing relatively well. And so that's some good news, but I would say that I think maybe another question within that is everyone in our county benefiting from that economic growth and that relatively stable economic environment? So that is one of the questions that we ask ourselves every single day, and that is why we do the work we do to provide opportunities to all Fairfax County residents as well as our small businesses.
What new threats or opportunities do you feel that Fairfax County small business people need to be prepared for in the future?
Well, as I mentioned, our Northern Virginia region is doing well economically, and Fairfax County is a very stable place that continues to grow, which is evidenced by the many businesses that continue to come here, to start here, and to grow here. And I would say small businesses really need to continue to heed the lessons that we all learned from the pandemic and keep doing the things that many of them have already started doing, some of them which we discussed. Continue to engage with your customers in new and innovative ways. Look for new ways to reach more customers. But clearly, our economy is doing well. We have a great place to live and work. But the number one issue that businesses continue to cite, and all businesses really need to be thinking about, is talent and bringing on and retaining qualified workers. This is a challenge not just in Fairfax County, not just in our region, but nationally. That topic actually came up in several places in the economic recovery framework. And through our work, we have seen small businesses in Fairfax County innovate even in that area through providing apprenticeships or internships or really opening up opportunities to provide work-based learning or on-the-job learning. And this is actually one of the areas that we are going to continue to consider in my department as well as with our county partners. And that would be one area that I would really encourage small businesses in Fairfax County to consider as they're looking to remain competitive and maybe grow their firm, is how can they approach worker engagement and worker retention in new and different ways.
Well, that unfortunately is all the time we have. Thank you so much, Rebecca Moudry, for stopping by and sharing some stepping stones to help our Fairfax County small business people achieve success.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
The SBC meets on the fourth Monday of each month. Please visit our website to find out how you can attend our meetings online or by phone. Thank you for joining us.
My name is Dr. Melvin Murphy. I'm a member of the Fairfax County Small Business Commission representing the Providence District. Currently, I teach marketing and business at Northern Virginia Community College. I started my communication career in the United States Marine Corps. Since then, I have dedicated my life to the field of marketing communications and civic service. For many years, I have owned a small business where I give keynote speeches and marketing seminars and workshops. Over the years, I have been appointed to local and state boards. I have an innate need to serve my community just as I served our country. It is a calling to help make a difference in the lives of others. There is a quote that I like very much by Dr. Maya Angelou. When you learn, teach. When you get, give. Just like what the quote says, I decided to become a small business commissioner because I wanted to give back to the community by sharing my knowledge. The Providence District is a myriad of diverse businesses. The restaurant business is booming along with upscale shopping, farmers markets, and the art house theater like the Merrifield Mosaic District. As a small business commissioner, I hope to find ways to help small businesses, especially minority-owned businesses, take advantage of the resources and to help provide recommendations on policies that support small businesses expand in the Providence District. The Fairfax County Small Business Commission is here to help you and your small business succeed. The SBC meets every fourth Monday of each month. Please visit our website and find out how you can attend.